Wednesday, December 3rd edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I'm meteorologist Matthew East here in the Weather on the Ones Forecast Center. Pretty interesting wedge event unfolding out there across the region. I'll show you that more in detail in just a second. On the left, the Avalon Pier web camera. On the right, the Beach Mountain Parkway cam. You can see some of the reduced visibility there on the Avalon Pier webcam. Temperature 49 at both sites. How about that? Both along the coast and the Outer Banks and top Beach Mountain there. Again, that Beach Mountain cam courtesy of resortcams.com. Visibility is reduced all across the region. Raleigh, the lowest visibility on this specific map, down to around 1/10 of a mile. Quarter mile in many spots in eastern North Carolina, right on through the coast. Half-mile of visibility in Charlotte and Greensboro, as we're starting off the day, about 5:30 this morning. Now, it was pretty interesting to watch the temperature trends yesterday as this wedge began to settle in. These were temperatures at 6 o'clock yesterday morning, and then we fast forward to lunchtime. You had a lunchtime temperature in Greensboro at 39. It was 49 in Raleigh, 52 in Charlotte, but 72 down in Columbia. As you had that wedge taking hold across a lot of North Carolina, but not a lot of that scenario unfolding into South Carolina, and then not a lot of temperature movement across the Triad region through the afternoon and the evening. Charlotte, by 8 o'clock, it dropped down to 43. And it was just an interesting weather scenario out there across the region. Look at that visible satellite imagery from yesterday, and it was a pretty sharp cutoff right about there with the deck of cloud cover. North of that, you were in the wedge, an overcast sky, very cool conditions, much warmer down in South Carolina yesterday. Now these are the temperatures currently at 5:30 this morning. Charlotte 43, Columbia 54, Raleigh 44, 49 up in Boone. So we have the wedge still in place across parts of the region. The big forecast challenge today is how quickly will this wedge erode away. Not a lot of measurable precipitation at all to be found across North Carolina. You head up into the Virginias, though, some showers up that way. And kind of a messy storm system with a mixed bag of wintry precip through the northeast, through Vermont, New Hampshire, and much of Maine. And then, again, around here, it's just really the story of this wedge in place across the foothills of the Piedmont and how quickly we see that wedge erode with time as our Wednesday unfolds. I do think we will see that wedge erode with time, but it's always a slow process, and a lot of times it is slower than the modeling is indicating. But having said that, we should see some southwesterly winds in place today that should help to erode the wedge with time. But then watch what happens with the winds tomorrow. There they come out of the northeast. And that's going to be bringing in another cold air damming type of setup. Highs today, challenging forecast. All depends on the erosion of that wedge, but I think we're looking at upper 50s to low 60s in the I-85 corridor, maybe some mid-60s further to the east, and still some 70s down in South Carolina. But cooler tomorrow with, again, a new wedge beginning to set up. And that's going to be a fairly persistent feature then as we go on through Friday and the weekend. Speaking of Friday, that next storm system off to the west in the Ozarks, a lot of clouds Friday. I think we probably stay dry Friday, but then as we get into the weekend, that low pressure continues to march further to the east, so the weekend looks to feature lots of clouds and the possibility of some rain, especially Saturday. Now, this does not look like a big rain event. Notice these rain totals not terribly impressive Saturday into Sunday. But I do think a decent chance of some rain around as we go through the day, especially Saturday here through the weekend. We'll see how much that might linger into Sunday. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Everybody have a wonderful day, and God bless.